This, you guys, is gonna be epic. Hey guys, Kira here from 50 Shades of Mom, tips for all shades of mom life. And in today's video, I have a epic 2-week meal prep video for you. So last week and this week, I put together a whole list of things that I wanted to prepare for my family. I don't know about you guys, but meal prep for me is absolute key. Without it, I just don't know where I would be. I love having my produce ready on hand because I feel like that's what my kids end up grabbing first. I love having things for lunches ready and planned out, so it's very little thinking in the morning, and I love having my snacks prepared for my kids so I don't have to buy a store-bought. So I've loved what I've been able to put together for the last few weeks because it has made my weeks go a heck of a lot smoother. So if you are here for meal prep inspiration, you are in the right spot. And not only are you in the right spot for what I have for you, but this video is in collab with my girlfriend Vanessa over at The Lemonade Mom. If you guys do not know who she is, then you have not been with me for very long, or you must be new, or maybe under a rock. I'm not sure, but she is amazing and I love what she is able to do in the kitchen. I love when she shares her vlogs. It's kind of a throwback to when she had her vlog channel. I love when she does her clean with me videos. She does Dollar Tree hauls. The girl is simply amazing and she has become a close friend of mine. And so I know between her and I, we will be able to bring you a plethora of meal prep inspiration. So I'll make sure to leave her information on the end slate of this video and in the description box. If you go over to her channel and you came from here, please leave her a unicorn emoji in the comments so she knows I sent you. And otherwise, let's go down to the counter and I will show you guys what I prepared for our 2-week epic meal prep. All right guys, so no fancy intros and tons of talk because I have a lot of work to do. So I'm going to show you guys really quick what you guys are going to see in this meal prep video. I do have a list on my phone. I'm actually using in my notes where you can put the little dots beside it and I can actually check things off as I'm finishing it, and I'm pretty much going to show you guys how I have it listed on the list. So select the rest of the rotisserie chicken for chicken salad. I'm going to cook up some chicken sausage, the last of my bag from Costco, for breakfast this week. Same thing with bacon, and then I have some last few eggs from last week, so I'm going to cut these up for egg salad and then make new hard-boiled eggs. Here's all of the produce that needs to get washed, cut, cleaned, broken down, like tons. Got a whole countertop here. I need to get the dog's food in the crock pot first because that's probably going to cook most likely overnight because it's so late at this point, and I'm going to make a whole tray, so it's going to take a while. And then we're going to make some triple chocolate cookie mix from Trader Joe's, and then one of these pumpkin chocolate chip bread mixes for the snacks for my kiddos this week. We're going to make some ranch dressing. We have snack boxes to assemble, and then that's dinner for this evening, which is stroganoff. So I need to get that going for my kids as well. But that is it, guys. So I need to get a move on. Okay, you guys, so here on my phone is the meal prep list that I made for week 1. Even though this ends up being a pretty large list and does take me an extensive amount of time, I didn't go super creative and innovative with the things I was doing for meal prep this week. This happened to be the weekend that I went away with my husband and we went down to the Riverwalk and stayed in a hotel. So by the time we got home, it was just super late to even start meal prepping. So I went super light. So what I decided to do was chicken salad, make some chicken sausage and bacon for breakfast for the week. I wanted to do hard-boiled eggs and do some for snack boxes and egg salad. We have to wash and cut produce. I'm making pumpkin chocolate chip bread. We're going to do some cookies. I have to throw the dog's food in the crock pot, and then we're going to make the homemade ranch. We're going to complete 4 snack boxes for myself. I'm going to do some egg cups, and then I'm also going to do dinner because amongst all this I still have to cook for my kids, and so we're going to make a stroganoff tonight. So first up is the dog food, since it has to go in the crock crock pot, and I just threw in a couple pounds of chicken breast and then covered that with some frozen mixed vegetables. I threw the lid on and literally set it for 6 hours, you guys. It's that easy. They're just pups. They don't really need tons of seasoning, and it'll shred perfectly, as you guys will see, after 6 hours. And then I just mixed that with some rice. Then I broke out the Kasori pressure cooker, and it was time to do our hard-boiled eggs. I absolutely love my eggs in the pressure cooker, and I'll never go back. It's just 1 cup of water at the bottom, so it'll come to pressure, and then it's the highest manual setting for the lowest amount of time possible. Once it comes out, you throw it in an ice bath, and you're good to go. So while these are cooking, we're going to work on the ranch dressing, which you guys have been asking me for forever. So I have some buttermilk here that I poured in a 2-quart container, about 3/4 of the way full, and then I added a 1/2 cup of the Hidden Valley Ranch seasoning, and then about 2 cups of mayo. It is literally that simple, you guys. You can play with the buttermilk and the mayo back and forth until you reach the consistency that you like. Sometimes I'll break out a really good diesel whisk and whip it so that it's as creamy as possible, but we absolutely love this. As soon as I started making this, we've never gone back to bottled ranch. Literally, Jake takes a cup of this to school every single day with his veggies and stuff. So if you've not ever made your own ranch, I highly recommend giving it a try. I just slapped a lid on it, and then into the fridge it went. So I took a sauce pot and threw it on the stove and got it heating up, and then I dropped my ground beef in there. I'm going to start prep for dinner because, like I said, I already got a late start, so my kids were looking for something to eat, and so I just seasoned that with salt and pepper and an onion soup packet as it was cooking. And in that amount of time, our eggs are already done, you guys. So once I pop the lid off, I just threw them in an ice bath, and now they'll sit there until we're ready to shell them. And the advantage to that was we used our trivet, so the only thing that was in the bottom was water. So I just dumped that water out and dried it, and then filled it with 2 cups of brown rice and then 4 cups of clean water. And I'm going to put the lid on top of that after I give it a good stir, and we're actually just going to use the brown rice setting. It's one of the great things of the pressure cooker. It has so many setting options, and so I just push the brown rice button, and once it's done, it'll be ready for me to add to the dog food that's in the crock pot going. Now our seasoned meat is done, and I cooked it till it pretty much had no fat left on the bottom, so it doesn't even really need to be drained. And I'm going to scoop this out, and to make my life easier, since I'm accruing so many dishes during meal prep, I literally just wiped that pot out and then used the same pot to boil the water for the noodles for the stroganoff. Now at this point, our eggs have been in the ice bath long enough. You can tell that the heat coming off the eggs has melted all of the ice, and so now I'm just going to shell the eggs and get them ready. You guys want to know what's so funny? I've mentioned to you guys how much I don't like the water here. That's even filtered water in that bowl, because I know that I'm going to rinse my egg off in it. That's how much I can't stand it here. So now our water is boiling. That pan was still a little bit hot, so I threw my noodles in there, and I added a little bit of extra filtered water on top just to make sure that I had no more burning pot mishaps. I've had enough of that going on in the last week. So now it's time for bacon, and I like to cook my bacon in the oven. If I have extra time, I'll do it at 325 for low and slow, but I had a lot of stuff going in the oven, so we just cooked it at 350, and we watched it, and then I threw those chicken sausages in a frying pan onto the stove, and then now it is time to finish up our stroganoff. So in the meantime, the noodles had finished cooking. I tossed them and then threw the meat back into the pot with 1 cup of cold water, that packet of brown gravy mix, and then now we're just going to add in some sour cream. I don't measure here, I just keep playing with it until I feel like there's enough gravy and consistency. You'll see I go back right now and just add a little bit more sour cream, and then once I feel like I've reached what I like on the bottom, it's perfect, and then I just throw it over noodles and serve it with a side of veggies, and my kids absolutely love it. Like stuff like this, they gobble up. So now that my kids are fed, it is time to throw some pumpkin chocolate chip bread into the oven. So I followed the package directions. This is the Food Stirs one that I got from Costco. This stuff was dynamite, you guys. So once I added in the milk, the eggs, and the oil, I ended up adding in that pumpkin mix, and then I just kept mixing it and mixing it and mixing it until it came out so creamy. I put the whisk down because I figured a fork would be better. I thought a whisk would be too much. I also didn't want to break apart the chips. I wanted them to stay whole, but we love this company so much. It was no surprise how good it was. Now I'm using a 9x9 pan here that I just sprayed down with some cooking spray. It really called for a loaf pan, but if you guys are new here, we recently just relocated from South Carolina to Texas, and we're in a temporary home. So we'll be relocating again in about 5 weeks or so. So if you guys want to follow along with our journey, make sure that you are subscribed. But a lot of my stuff I did not unpack in this temporary home. So I do not have a loaf pan. We went with a 9x9, but you'll see that that worked out just fine for snacking purposes for the kids for the week. Those Mrs. Jones chicken sausages were done, so I took those out and threw them in a container, and our bacon was done as well. That worked out perfect all week. I felt like with the egg cups that we make later and then the bacon and the sausage, everybody just grabbed a couple pieces of everything, and I felt like it was good quality breakfast that I was able to give my family this week. Make sure when you guys are taking bacon out of the pan that you never let anything go to waste, like not a drop. Save that bacon grease because there's so many great things that you can do with it. So now while we were away, my husband and I, we made a rotisserie chicken for the kids, and whatever was left over, I just put in a bowl and chopped down and made my own chicken salad. I actually have a cooking video for this that I'll link up above for you guys. It's a very simple recipe. I just like to stay pretty basic with seasoning it: salt, pepper, garlic powder, mayo, celery. Sometimes I'll throw some onion in there depending on what I have in the house. But the secret ingredient is honey, you guys. Just a little bit of honey, and it changes everything. So once I was done mixing that, I threw it in a Tupperware and threw that in the refrigerator. And then now it was time to cut up our eggs for egg salad. I missed my egg slicer. It's definitely one of those tiny gadgets that I have inside of my boxes of stuff that I haven't unpacked. It's not a big deal. I mean, using a knife and a fork is like old school chopping, but I just love the way the eggs are cut down when I put them in my slicer, and I put it one way and then I lift it out and I put it back the other way. I just feel like it gets a good chop, but a knife or a fork, both of them, it still gets the job done either way. So once I'm done dicing up all of the egg, I am super basic with my egg salad. I don't even add salt because I feel like mayo is super salty on its own, and you could easily over salt. If you feel like you need more, you could always add it to your own plate, but I am not one to over salt. And then I add some crushed black pepper, and that is really it. Mayo, pepper. I'm pretty simple. Some people add like celery and stuff. Some will add mustard. That's more deviled eggs to me. Either way you do it, whether you do it my way or your way, egg salad is absolutely fantabulous, and I definitely feel like it's super versatile for lunch. It's something that I can do and be more on a low carb. I eat this with celery. It's perfect when it's cold. Throw a top on it and we're good to go. So there's our rice out of the pressure cooker, fluffed and ready to go for when the chicken is out of the crock pot. And then there is our finished bread. So this cooked up literally perfectly. I was very nervous about not having a loaf pan. I made sure to watch it. I kept poking it with the stick to make sure that it was cooked. And then once it was cooked, I was able to just cut down the center and then make 10 like nice size wedges out of it, which I felt like was perfect. It was something that we're literally still using and just finishing up for lunches this week. So it lasted a week and a half in that Tupperware still. It's still good. I think when we got down to a couple of pieces, I took them out and threw them in a sandwich bag, but I was really happy with how it came out, and I stole a little chocolate chip and a crumb right there and gave you guys the thumbs up because it was that good. And so now while our oven is still heated up, I'm going to get ready to make those chocolate chip cookies, triple chocolate cookies from Trader Joe's. So in that bowl was some melted butter, and then we needed an egg white, and I saved the yolk for later for our egg cups. And once I blended that up, then I threw in the mix. So you're basically just following the directions again on the back. But this ended up, as I was mixing it, I was a little surprised on how like stiff the dough was. It really took like a while for me to keep stirring and stirring. I didn't even think there was enough liquid in there. I thought maybe I under measured with the butter or something. I didn't even think it was going to come out. But eventually, after I just kept working with it and working with it and working with it, I ended up even going in with my hands and like giving it like a good mix. As you're making these balls that you're about to put onto the sheet pan, it really came together. So as I kind of rolled the little round 1-inch balls in my hand, they ended up coming out and everything stuck together and it worked out perfect. So I popped those in the oven and figured it was time to make my snack boxes, because to be honest, this was the most useful thing that I make in meal prep, because this is what has helped me to cut back on some of the pounds, is for reaching for things like this as opposed to reaching for anything else. So I put some pistachio nuts in there, and then I put in a hard-boiled egg. I even stole some cherry tomatoes. I know my daughter is probably not happy with me that I've been jumping on her cherry tomato train, but it really goes good with the pieces of mozzarella that I was putting in there. I ended up adding some blueberries that I already had washed and cut from the week before, and then added salami that you guys don't see on camera. But it took me a while to kind of manipulate these boxes, because something else that I didn't unpack is my silicone cupcake holders. And so I'm actually using Holy Communion cupcake wrappers that I've had for like 4 years, but I got to use them anyways. But it still took me a while to play with it until I got my boxes set the way I wanted them. But I got to be honest, they are, like I said, the most useful part of making meal prep, because that's what I reach for all week. And then now it was time to wash and cut my produce. But you guys, it's kind of boring to watch and see somebody cut and wash the same kind of produce all the time. So you guys just saw me washing raspberries and blackberries and broccoli. I did try this time to cut the tops off. I feel like most of the dirt ends up being in the stems of my strawberries, so to make them less dirty, I tried to cut them a little bit, but I feel like, I don't know, that it soaked into the strawberry a little bit more, and I felt like it made them almost soggy after a couple of days almost. I don't know. I'm gonna have to play with it until we find out what works best for us. And then I started getting ready to cut up my lettuce and wash and clean that. This is probably one of the most important things that I make sure to clean produce wise, just because my husband says he can always detect the taste of dirty lettuce. So I'm always careful with making sure to wash my lettuce, but of course, what is packed? My salad spinner still. So doing any kind of romaine or anything is a pain, because once you wash it, I have to let it drip dry in a colander for a really long time. So I kind of hate doing that. But then it was time to get my cucumbers ready, and so I did just plain old round circles for when we're doing like snacking and stuff. And then I did a long sticks, because that's how Jake likes them when I pack them for lunch, because he likes to use those like dippers to dip inside that ranch dressing. And then the last half of cucumber I just diced. This way it was already ready for when we did salad this week. I would use the half moon ones for salad. Threw it in a bowl to be cleaned with whatever pieces of celery I had left, and then that was it for week 1. Okay guys, that's it. I'm tapping out. I have like one little extra project to do, but I prepped for it, so I'll show you guys that. But I am exhausted, and I still want to finish putting lunches together and get up early enough to make this last little bit that I have for something for breakfast. So this is just like residual, the last of like the little things that carried over that still has to go in the fridge. But here's the finished rice for the dog food, and then here is the chicken and vegetable all pulled. So now that this is cooled, I'm going to mix these two together and then separate them. One I'll put back in this small container, and then whatever is left over I'll put in a baggie in the freezer for next week. And then here's my bacon and my chicken sausage, and actually my son has already eaten like 3 or 4 of these sausages. He absolutely loves them. Here's my 4 snack boxes. I think they came out so yummy. Got all my fruit and veggies and nuts and egg and cheeses and all that good stuff. So that's going to be perfect for me to grab instead of picking on any kind of crap. And then here is egg salad, which will be perfect for lunches and stuff all week. And then here is what was left of that rotisserie chicken that made the chicken salad. And then here is all of my produce, my strawberries, my cucumbers and celery. Here is a broccoli. We have green beans, our cherry tomatoes. Those are raspberries, carrots, broccoli, blackberries, and then over there we have a bag of lettuce, and then I cut up some peppers. I have some orange peppers there, some red peppers, some yellow peppers, and some chorizo, and I'm going to cook that up in the morning with the egg mixture. I've already mixed everything together, 8 eggs and some heavy cream, and I whisked that all together, and then now I'm just going to add this in there and throw the top on it, and then in the morning I'll make fresh egg cups for Mason and everybody to have a good breakfast to start off the week. This is a stroganoff. It doesn't look the greatest right now because it's cold, but this is the leftover plate that I had from dinner, so I'm going to actually use this for Jacob's lunch tomorrow. And then speaking of lunches, this is what I made for lunch snacks. So here's those triple chocolate cookies from Trader Joe's. Everybody sampled one. They were really, really good. And then that is that Food Stirs pumpkin chocolate chip bread that I cut into little wedges so people can have those for breakfast or for snack, whatever we want. I have some banana nut muffins that I'm going to defrost out of the freezer as well. So I think that it went pretty well. I did manage to get the egg cups done. They look delicious. And then I also managed to get lunch for all 3 boys as well. Mom feels like a superstar. Okay, you guys, so here are the counters full of all the food that I'm going to need to make this week's meal prep. And although I'm getting another super late start, that is okay, because even with our hefty list last week, I was still only egg cups shy of the finish line. So we will finish this week, and I have my whole list that I'm going to go over with you guys in just a second. But pretty much we're going to go over that as we take a look at the food that we're going to need. So I'm going to use this for salami for my snack boxes, and then there's just a little bit of leftover shredded cheese from Super Bowl when I made buffalo chicken dip. Marissa brought this over, so I'm going to use what she had left, and then here's a block to shred in case I need that. And then here are the mozzarella balls for my snack boxes as well. Buttermilk for that pancake mix. We're going to finish off what we didn't use for the ranch dressing and make waffles for the kids for dinner tonight and for the freezer. Here is the milk that we're going to use to make our own French vanilla creamer. Here's bacon I need for the week. This is for the peppers with the cream cheese and bacon, and then 1 block of cream cheese goes for the buffalo chicken dip. I need a pepperoni for snack boxes as well, and then I have a chicken here. We're going to put that in the rotisserie. This is the cookies we're making this week. They're Trader Joe's Cinnadoodle. And then here is the hot sauce for the buffalo chicken dip, and then the mayo for the chicken salad, and the deviled eggs. So these eggs are going to be for the egg cups, and then we're making chipotle deviled eggs. Like, I cannot wait to make that. That sounds amazing. Have hash browns out because we're going to do hash browns with the waffles for dinner. Here's the pistachio nuts for my snack boxes, the chipotle peppers for those eggs, and here's the condensed milk for that homemade French vanilla creamer. Here's some bacon grease that I'm going to use when we make those egg cups to give it a little bit of bacon flavor. And then there's a can of chicken that I'm going to use just in case I need a little bit of extra bulk in the buffalo chicken, because we're going to make chicken salad and buffalo chicken dip out of this rotisserie chicken. So just in case I need a little bit of extra bulk, I pulled out a can of canned chicken. I'm trying to use that up anyways. That's from a while ago. It's still good expiration date wise, but it's from BJ's. So just something I need to use up. Here's the chipotle chili pepper for the top of the eggs, and the French vanilla creamer that we're going to use inside of that homemade creamer. I have a couple of those Mrs. Jones chicken sausages left in here from last week's meal prep. We're going to cut those up and add them in our egg cups. Here's the broccoli slaw for our orange coleslaw that we're going to make. Orange tarragon sounds really good, and it's from that Keto for Life cookbook Vanessa got me for Christmas. So I'll show you guys that in just a second. And then here is pretty much our array of produce that needs to be cleaned and cut and used for lunches and stuff this week. So we have celery, mushrooms, grapes, peppers, broccoli, strawberries, blackberries, blueberries, carrots, cucumber, tomatoes, and then our lettuce. And then here is what's left of that salami and stuff that I had for Super Bowl. So we're going to kill this in our snack boxes this week. And then that's it, guys. I'm pretty sure I have everything everything laid out here that we're going to need. And then here are the cookbooks that I'm using for some of the recipes. So this is the Southern Keto Cookbook, which I always have linked in my Amazon store down below. This you can see I have my little yellow tabs of the stuff that we're making this week. And then this one is Keto for Life. I believe that Vanessa found this at Costco and she gave this to me for Christmas, and it has some great recipes in there, and you can see that I have them flagged off as well. So that is it, guys. Now let's get into another epic day of meal prep. So here is week 2's meal prep list, and I did decide to go a little bit more creative this time. So we're doing chipotle deviled eggs instead of egg salad, and we're changing up the egg cups. We're making cucumber sandwiches. We're still doing bacon and a different type of cookie. We're making coleslaw out of the Keto for Life cookbook. We're going to clean and wash produce again. We're going to put a rotisserie chicken in my rotisserie oven, and with that we're going to make fresh buffalo chicken and then chicken salad with grapes and almonds. I'm going to do snack boxes again, but I'm going to change them up this week. We're going to do peppers stuffed with the bacon cream cheese and the everything with the bagel seasoning. We're going to make our own creamer, and then of course I have to do dinner again, but that's okay. We're going to incorporate that in meal prep, and I'm going to make a whole box of buttermilk pancake and waffle mix, and we're going to make waffles, so the kids will have waffles and hash browns tonight, and then I'll freeze the rest. So we are starting off with our vanilla creamer, and I was surprised how good this was, you guys. I'm curious to see what my husband thinks. He's still finishing up the creamer that we had open, but I really liked it, and I like that we can control the sweetness. So it's only 2 cups of milk, 1 can of sweetened condensed milk, 1 tablespoon of vanilla, and stir. And ever since I said to you guys I was going to make this, the comments that you guys have been writing that you know people who do this or you do it too has been really helpful, and it made me super excited to try it. So thank you guys so much for that. I put a cap on it, put it in the fridge, and then I started working on our pancake mix. So it's literally just following the instructions on the box on how to make waffles, and I used buttermilk, the eggs, and oil, and then mixed it up. And then I noticed that it was very thick because you're supposed to use water and not buttermilk, but I wanted to finish up the buttermilk, and it was buttermilk pancake mix anyways, so I thought it would work out perfect, and I just kept working in the buttermilk until I got it creamy enough and smooth enough that it would work well in the waffle iron. And although I don't eat carbs anymore, I stole 1 bite from my kids' plate when I was making it, and they were delicious. So I set that mix off to the side to rise and the waffle iron to heat up, and then I put eggs in the pressure cooker again, but you guys saw me do that last week, as well as you also saw me put bacon in the oven. So I went ahead and did those 2 things, and then once the waffle iron was heated up, I just put a little bit of cooking spray on top of that, and then ladled some of the pancake mix into the iron and closed the lid and let that do its business. It's actually pretty thick, and that waffle iron doesn't get super hot, and so I actually have to let it sit for like 5 minutes. But by the time I was ready to go with that, my eggs were already done. That's how quick they are in the pressure cooker. So I took them out, threw them in a ice bath, and then got the hash browns into a pan so I can get them into the oven for the kids' dinner, since the waffles were already set to go. By that time, that first round of waffles was already done. Look how brown and perfect that comes out. And just to give you guys the heads up, any of the kitchen tools that I use, whether it be the Kasori pressure cooker, whether it be this waffle iron or the rotisserie that you guys are going to see in just a couple of frames, everything's always listed in my Amazon store. I mean, down to the knives that I use. So just the heads up in case you see anything that you're interested in. And then I set up another round of waffle mix inside of the iron, and by that time our bacon was done. I mean, I love how good it comes out in the oven, yummy and crispy. And then now we're going to set up our snack boxes. Now, last week you guys saw that I pretty much completed the snack boxes in 1 sitting, but I am not showing you guys something completed in its entirety. I'm literally filming as I go. So it's not all of the waffles being done. It's not all of the snack boxes being done. So you're seeing that I just put pistachio nuts in all 4 boxes and then pepperoni in only 2 of them, but then it was time for me to flip the waffles again. So I literally just took you guys along my journey with me as I kept on going. And so here are the waffles, just about finished. Yep, this is it. That was the last of them. They're completely done. And then now I wanted to work on getting my cookies in the oven. Like, I needed to keep things rotating. So they actually said to do this like in a KitchenAid. They wanted you to cream everything, but I wasn't taking taking my KitchenAid out for just one thing. So I just creamed the butter myself in a pan, and then you were supposed to add in 1 large yolk. So I threw in 1 yolk and then saved the white for our egg cups, and then it wanted you to work in slowly a tablespoon of milk, and then once you did that, then you could add the mix. This was also a tough mix. I'm not sure if this is common for all of Trader Joe's mix. This was the first time I'd ever used like cookie mixes from them, but I had to stop using the fork and switch to a spatula. Like, they just don't make you use a lot of fluid. You really have to like work it down to a very stiff dough. But just like the other thing, it rolled out just fine. It came with a side packet of cinnamon and sugar, so you just rolled the balls into little balls and then rolled them in the cinnamon and sugar and then put them on a pan. I did remember that they wanted me to put it on parchment paper, so after I did the first 2, I was like, oh, I'm forgetting something, so I threw a little bit of wax paper down there and then finished up rolling all the balls up, rolling them in cinnamon and sugar, and then off that they went into the oven. So I had to go and put something away in the fridge. I saw those mozzarella balls sitting there and I was like, let me pop those out. I grabbed them, loaded those into the snack boxes, and then there went my squirrel mind and I went on to something else. There's not a lot of counter space in this place, so I was just trying to give myself room, and that pan of bacon was just in my way. So I took what I needed and got ready to make those bacon cream cheese stuffed peppers. So I threw half a container of cream cheese, 4 ounces, into a bowl, and then you saw how much bacon, like a good handful, to the point where I was able to make like a really yummy bacon cream cheese. And then I get these tri-colored peppers. It's yellow, red, and orange, and it comes in a bag. I get them at Costco or Walmart. My daughter absolutely loves them, and I just cut them lengthwise in half and filled them with this cream cheese mixture. After I kept filling, I realized that I did more cream cheese than I needed to, or I should have done more peppers. I really didn't need to. I kind of wanted to save peppers for other things this week. So you will see me go back and end up cutting up 2 more red peppers just so I can use up a little bit more of the cream cheese and not have anything go to waste. And then once I'm done filling those, I'm going to load them up in a 9x9 pan and then sprinkle a little bit of everything but the bagel seasoning on them and get them in the oven. And now our cookies are done and I've let them cool. And so now I'm just loading them up in a Tupperware. Again, if you guys are new, I haven't been buying snacks or anything like that in my grocery hauls. I'll buy some chippy things, but during meal prep, I've been making the snacks that I give my kids during lunch. So the Snickerdoodle cookies are what I'm going to be using for that. And then it was time to make these Chipotle deviled eggs. Okay, you guys, I'm going to be honest with you. I love me some, I mentioned before, I love egg salad. I love the flavor of Chipotle. I love deviled eggs. I'm just an egg person in general. But this is probably by far one of the smartest things that I would have ever thought of. And I didn't think of it. This came out of that Keto for Life cookbook. But oh my goodness, just adding just a tiny bit of that Chipotle adobo to that mayo. It says use sugar-free mayo, but I just buy Hellmann's. Comment down below and tell me the kind of mayo that you guys use. I mean, you see how much mayo we go through between all the salads and stuff that we make, but I am like Hellmann's, straight up and down. It's got to be Hellmann's. And so I don't know about no sugar-free mayo. I use some Hellmann's in there and then 2 good tablespoons of the adobo. It wanted you to put in lime juice, which I did not have, but it did not need it. It was so good just this way. And then you could use a piping bag or a spoon if you don't want to be fancy, but I loaded it into a sandwich bag and just slipped the end off, snipped it with a scissor, and just used that to pipe out the mixture into the eggs. And then I topped it with a little bit of chipotle pepper powder, and they are not spicy at all, but they just have such a different flavor than deviled eggs that I probably will always make them like that from now on. Rotisserie chicken, you guys. I don't know why I did not put the rotisserie chicken on first, because it needs to cook and then cool for me to handle it, but that's okay. This meal prep took hours and hours, so there was still plenty of time for that. And now the key to using this rotisserie is tying this chicken up well. And now if you guys have been with me for any length of time, you know that Daryl and I did a segment on my channel called 50 Shades of Chicken out of the cookbook, and we are continuing that later on this week. You guys are going to have another installment. It's been like a year, but we did tie up a chicken once before, and I probably should go back and either reread that cookbook or rewatch my own video, because holy cow, it is like not easy to get this bird to stay tight. Because what you guys are going to see is that once we tie it all up, we're going to put a metal rod that goes through both sides. It goes in the back and out the front, and then two fork-like clips slide onto each end, and they're going to lock this chicken into place. And so I noticed that if I don't do this well as it's turning on the rotisserie, if those strings break loose and those limbs fall to the wayside, no pun intended, then it's very hard for the rotisserie to turn, which is why I've been looking for just the right size chicken to put in this thing. But these chickens that I got at Costco worked out perfect. I've been making a rotisserie chicken once a week. You just load it right in here, and when I'm not using it as a rotisserie, it works perfect as a toaster oven, as an air fryer. This is not a sponsored video, although they did send this to me a while ago. I've already done my sponsored video on that. But you guys, I love this. I literally cook in it every single week, and it is absolutely amazing. Like, how cool is that to be able to do that in your own home and to be able to make what I make with it? Like, I absolutely love them. But now our peppers are done, and so I just pop those out and into a Tupperware. That's pretty much my thing. Jake will probably eat a few of those, but that's just a great low carb snack for me. So I pop those in there. And then speaking of low carb snacks, I wanted to finish up these snack boxes. So I showed you guys that I put pepperoni in some, but I wanted to make these little salami sandwiches. So this is calabrese. This is still salami left over that I have from that pack that I got for Super Bowl, but salami holds like no other kind of cold cut lunch meat. So I just put 6 pieces out and then spread some whipped cream cheese on it and a little bit of green onion. I kept going back and adding more and more green onion because I love onions, and I was like, oh, it needs more, it needs more. And then I just threw a top on them. I had one little piece left, so I ate while I was prepping. Do you guys do that? Do you eat while you're prepping? Because I don't end up even eating dinner because I eat while I'm doing this. And so I loaded those up in my snack boxes, and I put one of those Chipotle eggs in there, and then I cleaned my blackberries and threw some of those in each of the boxes. And then now I'm gonna go in and add some cherry tomatoes to these boxes as well. Like, my daughter is absolutely going to kill me when she sees that I am eating all these tomatoes. She just thinks I'm not buying a whole lot, but maybe I just need to buy more so that her and I could share. But I cleaned those cherry tomatoes and I threw those in there, and then whatever I had left over as far as either blackberries or cherry tomatoes, I just threw them in one of my meal prep storage containers and put them in the refrigerator for us to either munch on, or no, my daughter's gonna steal them before the day is over. So now I'm going to cut up my cucumber, and although you guys saw me cut up cucumbers last week and there's nothing too thrilling about watching someone cut up cucumbers, I am going to cut them the exact same way, except the rounds that I'm using are not for snacking. So I cut my half moons for salads, and then I cut my stalks for Jake to take to lunches, but those round discs are going to be for cucumber sandwiches that you're going to see me make for Jake's lunch in just a second. But I want you guys to tell me if you clean your cucumbers like this or if you just wash the skin, because I found that this didn't work for Jake. By me doing that, it really absorbed inside of that cucumber, and he found his sandwiches to be a little soggy because I made them the day before. But I put out some cucumber halves, and then I broke cheese, a slice of cheese, into 4 slices, and I put it on top of each cucumber, and then I put some cream cheese on top of that, and then I sprinkled some everything but a bagel seasoning, and then I added some bacon. I closed them up with a toothpick, and then this is what Jake takes as a lunch. He absolutely loves this, although like I said, this time they were a little waterlogged. But if you guys are looking for something low carb and to switch up your lunch a little bit, I highly recommend this, and this suggestion came out of the Southern Keto Cookbook. So speaking of cookbooks, we're going to go back to that Keto for Life cookbook, and this is us making orange tarragon coleslaw. Now, I was all about making this because if you do keto, you know that you're not supposed to eat anything citrusy like orange oranges and lemons and all of that because it's that sugar spike. But I love orange juice. That was such a shame to know that was so high in sugar. That was something I couldn't have. And so I loved this recipe. It called for apple cider vinegar and I used red wine. I'm glad that I did that. I think the apple cider would have been too sweet because this was sweet already. So it was oil and vinegar, and then you use the orange juice and then 2 tablespoons of erythritol, and then you even zest a whole mandarin orange and put that in as well. And then you salt and pepper it, and then you give it a good mix, and then you throw it over your coleslaw mix. I will say that I probably shouldn't have done broccoli slaw. It was a little stiff. I feel like full-fledged coleslaw, like just cabbage, would really suck up all these juices and you would really get that citrusy flavor. I came back towards the end and added the tarragon. It called for fresh tarragon. I couldn't find it. I did the best that I could, but you guys, once this all soaks in, it's so good. There's our chicken out of the rotisserie. Like, how beautiful does that look? And we just made that in our kitchen. And now I'm going to use that once it cooled. I peeled it, and for the first thing we're going to use it for is buffalo chicken dip. So if you guys are new or you didn't know, I wrote a cookbook with a couple of girlfriends here on YouTube, and that's always linked down below. And one of the recipes is this buffalo chicken dip. It's a very simple, it's hot sauce and ranch dressing and cheese and chicken, and you just mix everything together and then you put it in the oven, and it really heats up to like something super delicious. That's all that was left of the rotisserie chicken after I separated it with the buffalo chicken dip and then chicken salad. So you guys saw me make chicken salad last week, and I said that I had my own recipe for that, but this is actually a derivative of my own, and then I pulled a few pieces from Vanessa. So Vanessa, that I'm collabing with today, she's one of the people I wrote that cookbook with, and her chicken salad recipe she made for me the first time I ever tried it when we got together, and she put grapes and almonds and dill, which my family doesn't like the dill, or I would put that in there, and it just added such a difference. So I added her grapes and almonds and then still added in my honey and mayo and just mixed it all together and put a lid on it, and I know everybody's going to love it. I threw that buffalo chicken dip in the pan and threw that in the oven. I don't know why I didn't do that first. I like made the chicken salad and then thought like, duh, I'm supposed to stick that buffalo chicken dip in the oven. You don't really need to, but it really does just kind of melt and congeal it all together. So I got that in a 9x9 and slid that in the oven, and then while the oven was hot and cranking, it was time to do our egg cups. So in this bowl is 8 eggs, some heavy cream, the Mrs. Jones chicken sausage left over from last week, a big scoop of that bacon and bacon grease, and then some cheddar cheese. And I just mixed that all together, and then I put it in those cups. I am still using those Holy Communion cups. Oh my gosh, I'm going to use them until they're gone. Obviously, next we're going to be working on Halloween and Christmas, but whatever works because we need to use them right. And I feel like normally I would spray them with some kind of cooking spray, but when you use things like bacon and sausage, their own greases inside end up coating the inside of that paper, so they don't even stick. And I threw them in the oven and I baked them up, and you guys have been absolutely loving these egg cups. They are perfect for breakfast. Okay, you guys, we did it. The counters are full, except this time it's with all the food that we prepped. The only thing I did not get to was cleaning my celery and my lettuce, but there's like barely any room in my refrigerator for anything else prepped. And I have my salad spinner still packed, so that gets really annoying. I have to let the lettuce drip for a while, and it's 12:30. It took me about 7.5 hours to do all of this, but I have little ones and I still had to get them to bed. It's a school night and all of that, and I still had to serve dinner and stuff. So that was obviously with interruptions, but this does require a lot of work. So let me show you guys what I finished. So I got our strawberries cleaned and the grapes. I made all of the waffles, and now I'll just break this apart for what we didn't eat for tonight for dinner, and I'll put that in the freezer for future use. And we have leftover hash browns that we'll use for breakfast. Here's our chicken salad. We have carrots cleaned and mushrooms cleaned. Here's the rest of those chipotle deviled eggs. Here are the cooked peppers with the bacon cream cheese and everything but the bagel seasoning. Here is Jake's lunch for tomorrow. That's the little cream cheese sandwiches. I know he absolutely loves them, so he's going to be super excited. In here is just whatever bacon we have left over, and I crumbled it into pieces so we can use it for bacon bits. Here is our snack boxes, which I love the fact that I changed it up a little bit this week. So I have blackberries, tomatoes. Maya's gonna be so mad I stole some of her tomatoes, but oh well, love you, girl. I got a chipotle egg in there, some of those mozzarella balls, which I think is so much better than me slicing up the mozzarella like I did last week, and some pepperoni and some pistachios. And then you guys saw in the other one that I made those salami sandwiches, which those were really good. What I rolled up, that little extra piece, was absolutely delicious. So got that all set up, and then in here is our coleslaw, which really tastes so good. Again, I'm sure I said this in the voiceover, but this surprised me with how sweet it was, especially since it's supposed to be a keto recipe. But if you are doing like full-fledged keto and you're not eating any kind of fruit, that really gives you that citrusy orange you can have on keto, because you don't have like those really sweet citrusy things. So definitely recommend that. And then here is Maya's tomatoes and the rest of our cucumbers, sliced ones for salad, and then the stalks for Jake to take to school on a different day. Here are those snickerdoodle cookies, and the kids all tasted one and they said it was really yummy. They split like one cookie and each tasted it and they said it was good. Here is our washed and cut up broccoli, and then here's what's left of the blueberries that couldn't fit in this container. We made that French vanilla creamer, which I'm really anxious to try in my coffee in the morning. So many of you wrote me on my grocery haul and said that you see a bunch of people do this, or you do this, and then it's great, like just great. So I'm anxious to try it, because if it's good, then I'll totally add that to my meal prep. It was not hard. Here is what's left of the blackberries, and then we have a buffalo chicken dip that just came out of the oven, so we'll be able to use that for snacking and for lunches during the week. And then here's what's left of this chicken. I'm just gonna peel that little bit that's left and use it for a salad topper throughout the week. It was more than enough for the chicken salad and for the buffalo chicken dip, and I thought about even just throwing it in the bag with the carcass, because I have 3 carcasses now that I'll use to make broth for my chicken soup next week. That'll be part of next week's meal prep, but I think that there's enough on there for the legs that I'll just use that for a salad or something throughout the week. So I have that. And then here is our egg cups, which I'm glad that I just went basic this week, because it really ended up being only me who ate them last week. So just the sausage, cheese, bacon, and eggs will be enough for everybody to enjoy them. And then here is the lettuce and celery that I did not cut up, and then I even made lunches again like I did last week. So that is it, guys. I think that I did pretty well with another week of a meal prep, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Okay guys, so that was it for my epic 2-week meal prep video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. I don't know about you guys, but I always feel so accomplished after I'm able to pull off a task like that. It's been a couple of late nights, but it really has set me up for the week, and it's made the days and the afternoons and the lunch packing and the breakfast just that much easier. If you stayed all the way to the end and you are from Vanessa's channel, thank you so much. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and if you did, feel free to look around. I hope there'll be some other content that you guys enjoy. I am a mom. I have 3 kiddos, and we are about to embark on some more journeys that we'd love to take you guys along with. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys again so much for watching. I love you guys all so much, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.